Well, it's going to be a very long and potentially silent trip back to North London for Ange Postecoglou and company after they took a real beating, Stevie, at the hands of Newcastle. Newcastle, of course, at home, and everybody there in the home crowd definitely pleased with that 4-0 result. Maybe a little bit surprised that it seemed to be as dominant, because we talk about the issues that Newcastle have had all season. You still look at their 11 and the squad, and there are some names that are still missing. So are you a little bit surprised as to how dominant the result ended up being, or how did Newcastle get it so right?
Yeah, I think 4-0 is a bit of a surprise, but I guess having sat through the game, by the end it really wasn't. For half an hour they kind of sparred with each other. Both tried to go forward. Nobody really in any real control when it came to that final third. And Newcastle pretty much sitting tight and letting Spurs come at them. And then after half an hour, just got after them on the break. Two quick goals, one in 31st and 32nd minute. And all of a sudden, Spurs are 2-0 down. And actually from then on in, they never looked like getting back into this game. Van de Ven, who up until now has been one of the best defenders in the Premier League, had an absolute shocker. He fell over for the first one. He slipped for the second one. And actually the third one after an hour, horrendous defending. Let Isak run off him on the halfway line. I'm not sure whether he was sleeping or whether he was trying to play offside. Either way, he just let Isak run. And you can't give this guy 4 or 5 yards of a start. Took it forward and slipped it past goalkeeper into the back of the net, 3-0, and the game was definitely done by then. Schär got a late one in the 80th minute. Nice header from a corner. 4-0. Comfortable in the end. My goodness, Tottenham. Absolutely all over the place today.
Yeah, and you mentioned Van der Ven. This is obviously a day for him to forget, and we've really not had much to criticize of him all season. But was it, as a defender, Stevie, as you were saying it, could Ange have said something probably to him, obviously, at halftime as well? Is it just one of those days? Obviously, the slips, when it's not your day, it's not your day. And we could see that. But probably for the other goal, maybe he could have closed down Isak a bit better, slowed down a bit.
Yeah, I think considering what he's given us for the season so far, I think we can let him off with one horrendous game. No, it is a really bad game. Let's be honest. It's not just wasn't that good today. He was absolutely awful. But he's got money in the bank. He's been one of Ange's best players all season, quite frankly. So yeah, it's one of those days. He just got everything wrong. He made bad decisions. His starting position was off. Wasn't thinking quickly enough. He basically couldn't do anything right. Whatever he tried to do, he got it wrong. But I'd have to say though, as much as we're criticising him, the whole Tottenham side, to be quite honest, were just weren't at the races. Maddison got substituted off again. I mean, Heung-min Son came off. At 3-0, I think that's probably more of a message that Ange is sending to Heung-min Son, because he kept coming off from that centre forward position, and I don't think Ange is wanting him to do that. I think Ange Postecoglou wants him to stay high and try and push back the defenders. So I think that was a bit of a message, as opposed to him being any worse than anybody else. And Ange just had one of those days as well. Made changes, couldn't get anything right. Nobody performed. 1 through 11, even the three subs that came on, nobody really did anything. Just a horrible day at the office for everybody connected with Tottenham. But a fantastic one for anybody connected with Newcastle.
I was going to say, definitely fantastic one for Newcastle, and yet another fantastic day for a certain man, Alex Isak. What an absolute player he has turned out to be at Newcastle. 16 goals so far for this season. Has he turned into at least in the top 2 of their most important players?
Yeah, absolutely. He's going forward. He's absolutely the key, and not far behind him is Anthony Gordon, whose pace really just worries all defenders. Never mind the back line of Spurs today. Gordon, since he's gone to Newcastle, he's really upped his game. And I guess, to be honest, to put it all down to pace would be an injustice to him, because his brain's working, his head's up, he's running with the ball, he's going past defenders, but he's always aware of what's going on around him. And he played an incredible ball in the first half to Anderson, who made a late run. He picked him out with that ability to run with the ball with his head up. So, yeah, Anthony Gordon has been fantastic. Isak really is a top-class centre-forward. And if they can keep him fit, because that's basically the problem he's had, getting a real run of games without picking up injuries left, right and centre. So if they can keep those two fit, Anthony Gordon and Isak, they're going to terrorise any defence that's left this season in the Premier League.
Well, Newcastle definitely look like they're at least trying to finish strong after what has been quite a challenging season for them, but they're managing to scrape back when it matters. This actually for Ange and Spurs is Ange's, I believe, worst defeat that he suffered so far, with 7 match days to go left in the Premier League. May not be panic stations just yet, Stevie, in terms of the top 4 race, but this is a big chance for Aston Villa now to give themselves at least a little bit of breathing space.
Well, the problem Aston Villa has is they're playing against Arsenal. so yeah, it's an opportunity, but it's a tough ask. And actually, both of these sides, both Aston Villa and Spurs, have all of a sudden they're on a bit of a roller coaster. You know, you're not quite sure what you're going to get at the moment. You know, you're coming towards the end of the season, try to get that 4th spot. You want some consistency, and you know, you can't have your team turning up and you don't know what you're going to get. That's certainly not the sort of form that you're looking to bring when you want to be in the top 4. I think both of them are fortunate that Newcastle are too far behind. I think it's 10 or 8 points. I'm not quite sure which one. But I think Newcastle are just too far behind now with not enough games remaining to probably catch any of the two of them. So it's kind of I was going to say it's a dogfight, but it's not really a fight. They're both kind of limping in and around that 4th and 5th spot. So it's still up in the air who's going to get it, whether it's Villa or Spurs.
Yes, indeed. And I'm sure you'll be hoping that Aston Villa could do you a little bit of a favour there at the top of the table for your Reds, Stevie. All right. Thank you so much.
My mind.
It didn't cross your eye. I could see the little glimmer in your eyes. So thanks as always to Stevie Nicol for this one. And it looks like Newcastle, definitely their fans will be very happy tonight. Whereas for Spurs, like I said, a very long trip back to the north of London.